Making sense of politics and the cultural divide from a different perspective. This is America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant on News Radio 710 Keel.
Hello, citizens. This is C.L. Bryant. It's a great day in the USA, and it is the weekend. Thank you for joining us here. America on the Edge. Well, you'll not live on the edge. You will have the edge. Come on and stay a while with us. My co-host, Stephen Parr, is here with me. Stephen, tell the folks what we have as far as our lineup is concerned.
A lot of stuff going on today. Of course, we had the plane that was downed yesterday over the Ukraine, the Malaysian Flight 17, ML-17. We're going to be looking at how President Obama has handled this, and we're going to compare it to how Ronald Reagan handled a situation that was almost the exact same back in 1983.
That'll be an interesting contrast. Got a chance to see the president today. Who else we got?
Well, that leads us to our next question, which is our question of the day. Who today could embody the type of leadership that Reagan had? And we want to hear from you. Who today? Who's out there? What leader is sitting out there that could become the next Ronald Reagan? We want to know from you.
And we invite you to call in around the 6:35 hour if you want a call or your calls to be taken on the show. Around 6:35 is when we'll be taking your calls.
Call 320-KEEL, K-E-E-L, 320-KEEL. You can also tweet us. Send us a message there on the Twitter at The American Edge, at The American Edge, to let us know who today embodies Reagan's leadership. We are also going to be talking about the Today Show because Matt Lauer was interviewing the attorney for Lance Bergdahl, and he said some things in that interview that struck me as odd. It's almost like he came at the interview from the wrong direction.
Yeah, and I tell you something, there's so many things going on from that wrong direction now, and people like Lauer and Matthews, and who you're going to talk about here in a minute, are really beginning to surprise me in the way that they are approaching today's issues.
We're also going to be talking to Deneen Borelli, who you know very well, and you and Deneen are heading to the NAACP convention next week.
It's going to be a great time up there, I tell you. We're changing the conversation, and Deneen and I will talk about the direction that the wind is blowing in America as far as black politics is concerned. Not the same old story that you've always heard.
But first, let's talk about What's the Buzz?
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz?
So there are two new polls out on immigration that are, when you take them together, very, very interesting. The first one here is from Gallup, and it says, it asks people what is the most important issue facing America today. And this is a running poll that they have. They just keep doing this one over and over and over. And that way you get to see how people's reactions change over time. So for several years, the economy was the top one. That's slowly been dropping down as being the top concern. Today, the most important issue for most Americans is immigration.
It's amazing when people stop worrying about their money and they start worrying about people who are coming into this country, may I say, illegally. That's what's happening. And that's why people are very concerned, because all types of things follow these people into our country who are coming here illegally.
And ultimately, it may be about their money, too, because for some of these folks that are having difficulties finding jobs, some of these illegal immigrants are taking those jobs.
And also, they're moving into places, Stephen, where the folks who pay the taxes there, they still have to pay for it.
That's right. So it ends up being about their money. But you're right. When immigration is a bigger issue than the economy, you know something's gone wrong. Here is the other part of it. And this poll, this is a different poll. This is Investors Business Daily, TIPP poll. And this one is not good news for people who want to promote amnesty. It is that 60% of Americans think that these illegal immigrants should be sent home.
I'm on board with all of that. Send them home. They got here, send them home. They came, now they leave. Send them home.
So take this together. The biggest problem is illegal immigration, and the most popular solution is ship them home.
And how do we do that, somebody's asking out there? Well, they came up here. I think they chartered buses from Guatemala up here, didn't they? Or didn't they carry
Some of them were chartered buses. Some of them they hired coyotes.
Pay the coyotes to take them back.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The coyote only wants the money, right?
You would, yeah. Actually,
Well, we talking about
so.
Wiley or the Roadrunner? Who are we talking about? Are we talking about Wiley?
Right.
We pay him the coyotes just want money.
Slap
Pay
Acme on the side of the box.
Take him back to the border of Guatemala. He wins both ways.
It's a genius idea.
Let's go.
CL.
Let's do it.
I like it very much. So those two things taken together really have got to be distressing for people who are trying to push amnesty, trying to push the legalization of it. And that's probably why the bills have stalled in Congress.
Well, absolutely that. And I tell you, this is the season now, especially facing the 2014 election, where you're going to have a lot of that stalling going on. People, especially from Harry Reid on down, his minions, they're definitely trying to buy time. This president has every one of his people very uncertain, just like he has all of us. All of us are very uncertain about the future. Harry Reid, he won't admit it. He's uncertain about it as well.
Probably right. I think you're right on that.
Yeah.
Today is Nelson Mandela's 96th birthday. Would have been, of course, he passed away. But one of the quotes, and this really is, I think this is your favorite quote from Mandela. It's mine as well.
Yeah.
No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite.
The one thing about Mandela that I must say is that I did admire his courage. Didn't necessarily admire his politics. He was very much a Marxist as far as that is concerned. However, I can always admire any man. And I think the reason that Reagan admired him, the reason that George Bush admired him, Clinton, and all the presidents who were alive at his death and represented there was because he was a man who had the courage of his convictions. He went to jail because of that, and he actually changed a country.
He did.
And you have to admire that type of steel in a person's spine, unlike somebody we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. This is C.L. Bryant. You're listening to America on the Edge, and we will return in a minute.
Giving you the edge. This is America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
The Italians are not the only lovers of pizza, but just to make the Johnny's Pizza House experience more authentic for you, we invite you to be Italian. We'll whisk you far, far away to a land of romance and squisito Italian pizza. A 12-inch for just $12.99 begins your journey. Our new bacon and tomato pizza seasoned with Johnny's special Italian blend. Enjoy, no. Goodere Johnny's bacon and tomato pizza today. Johnny's Pizza House. Taste the best.
You don't have to go far to get away from it all. Just 30 minutes south of Shreveport in the historic village of Grand Cane stands the Cook Hill House Bed and Breakfast. This stately treasure was built in the mid-1800s before the Civil War. Today, antiques and homemade quilts fill king and queen size suites. Rooms come fully furnished with private baths and free cable and Wi-Fi. Plus, you get a homemade country breakfast from Grand Cane Gourmet Jane Bryant included in your reservation. The Cook Hill House is the perfect place for weddings, receptions, parties, and showers, or when simply planning your next staycation. Call the Cook Hill House Bed and Breakfast at 318-858-0800. 318-858-0800. That's 318-858-0800. Cook Hill House Bed and Breakfast. Victorian elegance with country charm.
Hello, everybody. This is Henry Burr. God, faith, and freedom are not free. Many have paid the price. Let freedom ring. What a great radio program. Go get 'em, CL.
Bring the entire family to the Natchitoches NSU Folk Festival featuring Don Fontenot on July 18th and Saturday, July 19th for day-long entertainment with folk crafts, Cajun dance lessons, and music by Jeffrey Broussard and the Creole Cowboys. Held in air-conditioned Prather Coliseum on the NSU campus in Natchitoches. Kids 12 and under admitted free. This project is supported in part by the Cane River National Heritage Area Incorporated. Come join at the fun of the Natchitoches NSU Folk Festival July 18th and 19th.
How are you going to pay for college? Family trust fund? The lottery? A student loan? Hey, the Army National Guard can pay your tuition. Not 1/4, not 2/3, all of it. And that's for serving part-time. Go to our website, same as our phone number, www.1800GoGuard.com. Can you pay for college? In the Army National Guard, you can.
Sponsored by the Texas National Guard, aired by the Texas Association of Broadcasters and this station.
If you're in need of a good plumber, perhaps you need work on your heater, or especially right now with cooling and refrigeration systems. If you need help, give the friendly folks at Premier a call at 222-1980.
You're listening to America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
Welcome back to America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant. I am Stephen Parr, and our question of the day, who shows the leadership skills that Reagan embodied? What leader today could step up to the plate? We want to know what you think. Please call us, 320-KEEL, 320-KEEL. We're going to be taking your calls just after the half hour, and we want to know what you think on that. You can also send us a tweet at The American Edge, at The American Edge. So we've been talking about the plane that was shot down, the Malaysian airliners, ML-17, and obviously we weren't the only ones talking about it. Chris Matthews was dealing with it on Hardball yesterday.
Mr. Tingles.
And I thought it was interesting because at the end of the show, he went and started talking about Ronald Reagan, who dealt with a similar situation back in 1983 when the Soviet Union shot down Korea Airlines 007. Listen to what Matthews said at the end of his show yesterday.
Here's how President Reagan reacted.
What can we think of a regime that so broadly trumpets its vision of peace and global disarmament, and yet so callously and quickly commits a terrorist act to sacrifice the lives of innocent human beings? What can be said about Soviet credibility when they so flagrantly lie about such a heinous act?
Well, I can tell you he was speaking for the American people back then who were absolutely furious at what the Soviets had done.
Chris Matthews sounds like he has jumped off the Obama bandwagon, maybe a couple of miles back, Stephen. It sounds like he is now homesick or missing Ronaldus Maximus Reagan.
And it brought up an interesting idea to me. Let's compare how President Barack Obama is handling this situation to how Ronald Reagan handled the situation back in 1983. So I've put together a couple of clips here. First, we're going to hear from President Obama from his press conference today. Then we're going to hear from President Reagan when he addressed the country back in September 1983. Here's President Obama today.
Evidence indicates that the plane was shot down by a surface-to-air missile that was launched from an area that is controlled by Russian-backed separatists inside of Ukraine. We also know that this is not the first time a plane has been shot down in eastern Ukraine. Over the last several weeks, Russian-backed separatists have shot down a Ukrainian transport plane and a Ukrainian helicopter, and they claimed responsibility for shooting down a Ukrainian fighter jet. Moreover, we know that these separatists have received a steady flow of support from Russia. This includes arms and training. It includes heavy weapons, and it includes anti-aircraft weapons.
Okay, so the president comes out and says the missile came from an area controlled by separatists. The separatists have been using equipment that was given to them by the Russians. The separatists have claimed shooting down other things. He does, it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, smells like a duck, quacks like a duck, but he never comes out and says it's a duck.
No, there's a tone in leadership, Stephen, that is very distinct here. And listening to that particular clip, and folks, I hope you will notice it, especially when we play the other clips for you. There is a tone in leadership that either stimulates people to follow or people to wonder if, in fact, they should follow. This is where we are in this country with this president. We're at that crossroad, and he, unfortunately for himself, is at that point where he is losing or has lost the American people as far as their desire to follow him. Reagan never lost that.
And listen to how Reagan said basically the exact same thing back in 83.
And make no mistake about it, this attack was not just against ourselves or the Republic of Korea. This was the Soviet Union against the world and the moral precepts which guide human relations among people everywhere. It was an act of barbarism, born of a society which wantonly disregards individual rights and the value of human life and seeks constantly to expand and dominate other nations.
That was a definitive message, Stephen. When you heard Reagan speaking, you heard definition. And folks, let me tell you something. That is exactly what is missing in this presidency. Definition. There is no definitive message to us, not even on this particular issue, not on anything that we've heard. And the reason is because his tone of leadership is not deafening at all. It can't be heard in any of his messages.
Let's go to the next clip, because I think this isn't just a one part of the speech that I picked out. It's throughout the speech. What you're talking about shows up throughout. Let's go to the next part of President Obama's press conference today.
Here's what must happen now. This was a global tragedy. An Asian airliner was destroyed in European skies filled with citizens from many countries. So there has to be a credible international investigation into what happened. The UN Security Council has endorsed this investigation, and we will hold all its members, including Russia, to their word.
So President Obama came out and said, "Oh, we're now going to investigate." And by the way, that Security Council, that was not called by the United States. That was called by Britain. We did a little bit of leading from behind there again.
Yeah.
Let Britain lead that. And they've called for an investigation. Listen to how Reagan handled the same situation in 83.
I am asking the Congress to pass a joint resolution of condemnation of this Soviet crime. We have informed the Soviets that we're suspending negotiations on several bilateral arrangements we had under consideration. Along with Korea and Japan, we called an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council, which began on Friday. On that first day, Korea, Japan, Canada, Australia, the Netherlands, Pakistan, France, China, the United Kingdom, Zaire, New Zealand, and West Germany all joined us in denouncing the Soviet action and expressing our horror.
He called it what it was. It was evil, and the President Reagan at that time, he wasn't tiptoeing around this issue. What I noticed in Obama today, and folks, you're listening, you noticed this too if you saw the president's speech today. The president loved to tiptoe around the issue, and it calls me to think, Stephen, what he truly meant when he told Vladimir Putin through his aide or through his surrogate, tell Vladimir that I'll have more flexibility when the election is over. The president looked defeated today. His posture betrayed a person who was being crushed by the weight of his office. And truly, I know that the weight of the presidency must be very heavy. But there have been men who with steel in their spine have stood up to the pressure of that office and have led us in times of darkness. And this president is not doing it.
He called for an investigation. Reagan called for a condemnation. Reagan got the condemnation. So far, the investigation that Obama's calling for is just now beginning.
In the midst of peril, leaders lead.
All right, let's listen to the last two clips here. This is President Barack Obama, again, earlier today.
He said he wasn't happy with him, and I told him that we have been very clear from the outset that we want Russia to take the path that would result in peace in Ukraine. But so far, at least, Russia has failed to take that path. Instead, it has continued to violate Ukrainian sovereignty and to support violent separatists. It has also failed to use its influence to press the separatists to abide by a ceasefire.
Why don't you just call him out, Mr. President? I tell you why he won't call out Putin the way he should, the way Reagan did. He doesn't call out Putin because once you call the bully out, you're obligated to do something about it. Even if you get punched in the nose, you call him out, you're now obligated to do something about it. This president, I think, lacks the type of courage that Mandela had. He doesn't have the strength, the conviction of his own principles.
You're talking about calling the bully out. Listen to how Reagan handled the exact same situation.
Until they're willing to join the rest of the world community, we must maintain the strength to deter their aggression. But while we do so, we must not give up our effort to bring them into the world community of nations. Peace through strength, as long as necessary, but never giving up our effort to bring peace closer through mutual, verifiable reduction in the weapons of war.
Peace through strength. And that is exactly what you must have when you're being pushed around in the world. You must be strong. That's the only way the bullies in this world will ever leave you alone. He's inviting them to come and bother us. We need leadership in the White House.
President Barack Obama said, I'll have more flexibility. The irony is Putin is the one who's behaved like he had more flexibility.
Yeah.
Obama has not.
Exactly right.
We want to know who out there has the leadership qualities that Reagan embodied. Give us a call, 320-KEEL, K-E-E-L, or send us a tweet at The American Edge. We'll be right back with Deneen Borelli and more America on the Edge.
The sky is crying.
This is America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
Have you ever thought, I wish I didn't have to search for the best price on printing or direct mail? Tired of trying to design your own material on some confusing website just to get to the end and it's not that professional look your business needs? Well, stop searching and call Graphic Industries. We've been waiting on your business, ready to help you with your printing and direct mail needs. Graphic Industries offers all types of print, stationery, brochures, flyers, catalogs, door hangers, books, pocket folders, postcards, variable printed letters, and much, much more. Graphic Industries can direct mail for you, too. You can customize a mailing list, target a certain demographic, or just flood the market and get your name in the homes of thousands of potential clients. Lowest prices, best quality, and a faster turn time. Visit us online at graphicindustries.net. or call us today at 318-222-1100. Graphic Industries, the #1 choice of printing and direct mail.
Doctors Thornton, Pugh, Ollier, and Watkins from the Ear, Nose, and Throat Center are excited to tell you about a new, made-for-iPhone hearing aid, Resound Links. Resound Links is the fully featured hearing aid designed to connect directly with iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. Built with revolutionary technology to bring you a smarter, smaller, and more connected hearing experience. Call the Ear, Nose, and Throat Center at 888-408-6318 today to experience Resound Links. That's 888-408-6318 to schedule your appointment to learn all about Resound Links. Apple, iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch are trademarks of Apple Incorporated, registered in the U.S. and other countries. Once again, call the Ear, Nose, and Throat Center at 888-408-6318 today to experience Resound Links.
Come on down to the Natchitoches NSU Folk Festival on July 18th and 19th in air-conditioned Prather Coliseum on the NSU campus in Natchitoches. Enjoy folk crafts, foods, narrative sessions, and plenty of music including Cajun, Zydeco blues, bluegrass, and country, with line dancing with the Liqueur Trio. Kids 12 and under get in free. This product is supported in part by an award from the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation. Don't miss out on the fun of the Natchitoches NSU Folk Festival July 18th and 19th.
Conserving water doesn't take a major change in lifestyle. It's mostly a matter of using good common sense. Water your lawn during the morning or evening to minimize evaporation. You'll also get greater soil saturation and plant absorption. And avoid overwatering. If runoff occurs, stop immediately. The declining Sparta Aquifer is our main water source in North Louisiana. Do your part for water conservation. Be Sparta smart. Make every drop count. This public service announcement is brought to you by this radio station, a member of the Sparta Media Network.
Giving you the edge. This is America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
I used to bite my tongue and hold my breath, scared to rock the boat and make a mess. So I said quietly, agreed politely.
Well, welcome back to America on the Edge. This is C.L. Bryant. And along with me now, and Stephen, we're going to have my good friend Deneen Borelli, a Fox News contributor and outreach director for Freedom Works, an organization that we're both fellows with. Deneen and I are headed for Las Vegas. But before we talk about that, Deneen, caught you on Hannity both yesterday and I think today as well. You were talking about Sean Bergen. And give us an idea of how we should handle this or think about this guy being let go because of his opinion on what's happening in Jersey City, a place where you're from Jersey, aren't you?
I am from New Jersey, and hello, CL and Stephen. Thank you for having me on the show again. You guys are sounding great, and again, congratulations. Great job. I'm so happy that you're getting the word out to folks because it's so important to do so, especially during these trying times. But, yeah, I was on Sean Hannity's radio show yesterday along with Sean Bergen and Juan Williams, and we were talking about his situation, how he got fired because he was speaking up and telling the truth. The man is telling the truth what is going on in urban communities across the country.
Absolutely.
And he lost his job. And the way I see it, this is selective outrage, and it's a double standard because Obama made similar comments not that long ago.
So, Deneen, I love that phrase you just used there, selective outrage. And that's exactly what's happening here. And, in the little movie that you and I are in, one that I created and one that you were gracious enough to be in with me, we talk about these very things that Bergen was talking about. And I have a feeling that if we don't talk about them, they'll continue. What do you say?
Well, I hope people will not back down from telling the truth of what is going on in our country, gentlemen, because it will take individuals such as ourselves and everyday hardworking Americans to stand up and speak out, because if you don't, our country is going to continue to go in the wrong direction. And again, he was telling the truth. And this is something that a lot of people don't want to hear, is the truth, because the truth hurts.
The Bloods, the gang up there, what have you heard on that? What's the rundown with them? What are they threatening to do?
Well, last I heard, they were threatening to start picking off police officers one by one, and they were also calling in other gang members to come to the state of New Jersey to help with that initiative. So, this is a really big problem. A lot of citizens' lives could be in danger, especially our hardworking police officers. And, again, I just hope that people will not be discouraged to speak out and tell the truth. He was talking about how crime in New Jersey and across the country has come about because of broken households, and I'd like to take that a step further because there are no opportunities in these urban communities. You have failing public schools, and if you don't have an education, a degree, you can't read or write, you're going to resort and turn to criminal activities to try to make a living or just get yourself in trouble. So, again, it will take individuals to take a stand and turn these communities around.
Deneen, I was just reading an article on you in the American Spectator. You and CL are both mentioned in this as you are trying to continue this conversation, the same idea. You're trying to have this conversation with folks with the NAACP convention in Las Vegas next week, and so far their response has been silence, right?
Well, again, we got this selective outrage and selective double standard that's going on. And what CL and I are doing, we're talking about solutions to the problems that are plaguing our country and plaguing communities, especially black communities, where individuals think government is the answer when, in fact, individuals are the answer. We try to take our message to the NAACP last year. They ignored us. They ignored us again this year. So this year we rented a meeting room in the same hotel, the Mandalay Bay Hotel, and we're going to have a Liberty Summit. And we're going to talk about education, employment, and energy. Everyday kitchen table issues that we can have a good discussion with people, talk about the problem, and provide solutions.
And Deneen, you know that going there and doing what we do, we have made all types of enemies and so forth, surprisingly, among black folks around this country. Let me give us an idea from your point of view. Why is it when you have people of our particular political slant and we share the liberty that our particular political slant has brought to us, Why is our message among black folks so rejected, in your opinion?
One thing you got to keep in mind, CL and Stephen, is the fact that playing the race card, for example, has become a career for individuals like Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and the leaders from the NAACP. Their message is about victimization, racism, and that if you're black, you need special treatment to get ahead. My message, your message, CL, and other black conservatives' message is that you can get ahead, you can succeed, and you can overcome whatever challenges are before you. And don't fall for the victimization and race card message, because it's a lie. Look at Ben Carson, for example, Dr. Ben Carson, single-parent household. He almost failed out of school. The man turned himself around. He was a renowned brain surgeon, and he is a Tea Party rock star across the country. That is the kind of story that the black liberal establishment does not want other black individuals to hear, because it will blow away their narrative that blacks need special treatment and are victims.
Folks, we're on with Deneen Borelli, Outreach Director for FreedomWorks in Washington, D.C., and she and I, along with our crew from FreedomWorks, are headed to Las Vegas over the weekend. The start of the NAACP convention will start on Sunday, and we'll be there for a few days with them. In fact, I'll be broadcasting live from the NAACP convention in Las Vegas. Deneen, give them an idea of what we hope to achieve with the empowerment program that we will be putting on there at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas.
To change hearts and minds, we want to provide them with the facts and information and solutions to the problems, but also to encourage individuals to get involved, play a role, and have a voice. We're also going to have a table in the exhibit hall. That was something else we were denied last year. We'll be able to talk with individuals, give out information, and play our role. And that is what we do. We're talking about liberty for all Americans. And with this venue, we're targeting black individuals to take the message to them and let them decide for themselves.
Deneen, when you go into this, I'm sure you have some goals in mind that you want to accomplish. What will it take for this next week for you to consider the event to be a success? What's your definition of success for what's coming up in Las Vegas?
If you look at Twitter and Facebook and online, Stephen, we are already being successful. We have so many people backing us with this initiative because they know the NAACP is a liberal front group. They know that they play the race card. They know they don't have solutions to the problems in the black community. We're already winning, and our message is about liberty for all Americans, but especially black individuals who have fallen victim to the race card message and victimization message that the black liberal establishment has been preaching for many, many years. And so our message is liberty and empowering yourself, and let individuals think for themselves.
I admire your courage, Deneen. A liberal front group, the NAACP, has definitely become. It was once a venerable organization. I was once the president of the NAACP in Garland, Texas, and I saw the shift beginning to occur. I met Deneen Borelli, folks, this September will be 5 years that you and I and Tom have been hanging out together on this particular trail. We never thought that we'd wind up this far down the road, but we have. And I do believe, particularly looking back on Chicago, where you and I left a couple of weeks ago, that we are, in fact, making an impression. Since then, I'm sure you've been keeping up with the type of activity that's been coming out of Chicago as far as people being fed up with not only the president, but Rahm Emanuel. What's your take on our effectiveness in coming out of Chicago?
Well, Chicago was a great event. We had a town hall event, and we talked about the same issues, education, employment, and energy. There was no pushback on our message. No one stood up and defended President Obama or Rahm Emanuel. If anything, they were complaining about them. And then you got to think about the fact that this is resonating across the country, gentlemen. In Houston, a woman by the name of Bernadette Lancelin was complaining about President Obama and government. In Chicago and Philadelphia, you do a simple search on the Internet, and you'll see that black individuals are finally waking up and realizing they are no longer the flavor of the month, and they've been tossed aside because of big government thinking that they can take lie.
I really want to believe that, Deneen, that we are beginning to give them a different flavor. You know, they have tried that same flavor for over 50 years now in this country, and you and I, along with Tom, Jane, and FreedomWorks, people have been telling them that they should at least try something different. And I believe that because of the efforts that you are making, FreedomWorks is making, myself and people like us around the country are making, they actually have a viable alternative. Are there any other cities that we might be going to? You know that I'm going to follow your lead.
No, well, we're working on a plan, gentlemen, and listen, keep the news on because it's the same message. We're not making broken promises to anyone. And again, we want to inform people, inspire them, and have them get involved and play a role because it will take all Americans to take a stand to turn our country around.
Deneen, thank you so much for being on our show, America on the Edge here, and I'm sure you and CL will have a lot of great works accomplished next week, and we'll be talking with both of you again next week as CL is going to be broadcasting live from Las Vegas. CL, we've been asking people who out there embodies the leadership of Ronald Reagan. We did get a tweet. This is from Aaron Bristol. Aaron Bristol said, "I'm not sure anyone has the strength, morals, and presence of Reagan. I'm scared for our future."
Amazing.
We want to hear from you. Send us a phone call. We're about to take your calls right after the break. You can call us right now, 320-KEEL, K-E-E-L, 320-KEEL.
This is C.L. Bryant, America on the Edge. We'll be back in a minute.
This is America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
If you haven't yet, go to our website, AmericaOnTheEdge.com. It's different than most websites out there, and that's because it's not a website, it's our nation, created by Logic Nation. As we're launching this new kind of radio show, we decided to partner with a new kind of internet company. Logic Nation gives us a new way to interact with you through your existing social media platforms. We've got Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all in one place, which makes it easy. Too much of the time, social media becomes a place where we bicker and fight rather than listen and learn. Logic Nation gives us the ability to start a new conversation on air and online. So now when you go to our Nation page and start a conversation with CL or with me, we can stay focused on that discussion without getting distracted. It's going to change things, and I believe for the better. Logic Nation has an app to make it easier to browse content on your mobile devices. You can download that for free today. If you have a business that needs to reach your customers in a new interactive way, you should give Logic Nation a try.
Planning your next staycation? You don't have to go far to get away from it all. Just 30 minutes south of Shreveport in the historic village of Grand Cane stands the Cook Hill House Bed and Breakfast. This stately treasure was built in the mid-1800s before the Civil War. The Cook Hill House is also the perfect place for weddings, receptions, parties, and showers. Call the Cook Hill House Bed and Breakfast at 318-858-0800. 318-858-0800. Cook Hill House Bed and Breakfast. Victorian elegance with country charm.
SB Magazine, North Louisiana's premier publication, is your source for local entertainment, home decor ideas, gardening information, fashion trends, and seasonal gift guides. Every month, we take you behind the scenes at some of Shreveport-Bossier's most fun events in Ion SB. And you'll find SB Magazine everywhere. But the best way to make sure you have the most current issue is to subscribe. It's just $16 for 12 months. Call Debbie today or go to our website, sbmag.net. SB Magazine, the pulse of Shreveport-Bossier.
Love music, crafts, and food? Then come on down to the Natchitoches NSU Folk Festival on July 18th and 19th in air-conditioned Prather Coliseum on the NSU campus. Enjoy dancing, crafts, and plenty of music with Al Ferrier, Grassfire, and the Louisiana State Fiddle Championship. Bring the whole family. Kids 12 and under get in free. This project is supported in part by an endowment from Natchitoches attorney Desiree Dias. Join us at the Natchitoches NSU Folk Festival July 18th and 19th.
The home of Rush Limbaugh. Weekdays from 11 to 2 on News Radio 710 Keel.
These senators do not want to control immigration. They want to expand it. Wealth will be redistributed from the middle class to a new class of poor. But what we're actually doing is importing poverty in order to enhance big government.
Rush right here on your news and weather station, News Radio 710 Keel. You're listening to America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
Welcome back to America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant. I am Stephen Parr. We've been asking you who today embodies the leadership of Ronald Reagan. And during the break, we got a phone call from Steve from Shreveport. And CL, he answered, no one.
Oh, nobody.
Nobody. None. Nunca. Nada. We have Parker on the phone from Shreveport. And Parker, who today embodies some of the leadership characteristics, the strength, the character that Reagan had?
Well, there's more than really one person there's actually four that I think really shows the values of Reagan. That's, of course, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, Governor Scott Walker, and Senator Mike Lee. I think those really embody what Reagan stood for as a conservative and as a Republican. And I think on the national scale, and definitely with presidential aspirations, I think they would really bring the spirit of Reagan to any type of debate, to any type of forum, and really to the policy of the party.
That's a very good answer. I like all three of those guys. In fact, it's a very good chance we'll have at least three of the four that you named on the show here within the weeks to come. Parker, give me an idea of if, in fact, any one of those four could actually be a viable presidential candidate. I mean, just as quickly as you can.
Quickly, the only one that I really think could be viable, I think we need someone with executive experience. But really the only one that stands out for me is Governor Scott Walker. And, of course, Rand Paul. I think both of those really stand out as great leadership, great experience. But Scott Walker more than all because he has something that this president doesn't have, executive experience.
Want to thank you for calling in, Parker. We'll be talking to you again. God bless you.
Yeah,
Bye now.
Stephen, have a good one. Bye-bye.
And Parker did have a good point there. Scott Walker is the only one in that group that he mentioned that has executive experience as a governor. Reagan was governor of California before he ran for president. Well, we've been talking about what Obama has done with some of his policies. One of them was to trade 5 Taliban members, for Sergeant Lance Bergdahl. And Bergdahl's now back to active duty. And yesterday on the Today Show, and I know that sounds confusing, but it was yesterday on the Today Show, Matt Lauer was talking to Lance Bergdahl's attorney, Eugene Fidel. I found it interesting how he phrased his first question. See, I want you to hear it.
There was so much fanfare. After his release, the president met in the Rose Garden with Sergeant Bergdahl's parents. Top military officials were quoted as saying they didn't think he would face any major punishment, and then the criticism started. And then the controversy started. Now there's a full-fledged investigation. Do you think the military is succumbing to public pressure on this?
No, I really don't.
I think they are.
You think the military is succumbing to public pressure on this?
Oh, man, I tell you. The military right now, well, not public pressure.
Okay.
The military is succumbing to something, though. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
This guy should never, in my opinion, never have been reinstated as far as being a suspected deserter. And I believe that the public is not putting enough pressure, since it is our dollars that he'll put in his pocket, $350,000. I think we're not putting enough pressure on the military.
And see, I thought this question came from the exact wrong angle. The criticism didn't start after the mom and dad were in the Rose Garden. People had been saying for years that Bergdahl had deserted. It was in a Rolling Stone article back in 2011. The Rolling Stone had criticism against Bergdahl. This was well before the Taliban swap. And Lauer knows that. So for him to say that the public pressure came after he was released, no, it was already there.
Yeah, and when you talk about Rolling Stone, you're not talking about a stalwart of conservative thinkers.
No.
You know, and so this shows that we're not all stupid. Not even those who read Rolling Stone. And so Bergdahl, I don't know what to do with this, man. Every time I try to wrap my mind around it, when we have a Marine in Mexico locked down. We have a Navy SEAL who was dismissed from duty for speaking out on the issue against on an issue against Obama and then writing a book about it. When you have those types of people, honorable men who did in fact serve with honor and who being mistreated, in my opinion, and then you have this Bergdahl who is being treated like some type of trophy. I don't understand. I just don't understand. Do you?
I don't understand. And the Army is not going to succumb to public pressure. The military is not going to drop down because of public pressure. Having been a military brat, I can tell you that's not how things operate. They will fall under pressure from the commander-in-chief.
Well, the commander-in-chief is not putting any pressure on anybody. Listen, when he walked out into the Rose Garden with Bergdahl's mom and his dad, it was a love fest, man.
Yeah.
And nobody knew that Bergdahl, I mean, we don't even know yet if he's talked to them at all. I've heard that he's not.
The reports are he has not yet talked to his parents.
But the president was having a love fest with him.
Right.
I don't understand that either. Folks, we are living in very perilous times right now. Times that present to us situations like this Bergdahl incident that we do not understand. And quite frankly, I can't explain it to you. I cannot explain what is going on here with this guy who walked off of his post. I can't explain to you either why this president has proven to be, in my opinion, a very miserable leader, almost someone who causes us to be ashamed of where he is and what he is doing. Nothing like leaders in the past. Today, his posture. You go back, you look at the president's posture. In fact, the U.S. UN ambassador, had a stronger message for the American people than the president did. Folks, this is C.L. Bryant. America on the edge. Well, you'll not live on the edge. You'll have the edge. We will return in a moment.
This is America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
Hello, everybody. This is Henry Burns. God, faith, and freedom are not free. Many have paid the price. Let freedom ring. What a great radio program. Go get them, CL.
If you're tired of getting nickel and dime for your company's marketing needs, GI Marketing Group can help. We're a new, evolved marketing company with no monthly fees or markups and with quicker response times. With GI Marketing Group, there is no outsourcing. We own the production facilities, everything from print, mail, video, digital, and web design. We do it all in-house. Call us today at 318-222-1100 to start saving time and money, or visit us online at gimarketinggroup.com.
Doctors Thornton, Pugh, Ollier, and Watkins from the Ear, Nose, and Throat Center are excited to tell you about a new, made-for-iPhone hearing aid, Resound Links. Resound Links is the fully featured hearing aid designed to connect directly with iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. Built with revolutionary technology to bring you a smarter, smaller, and more connected hearing experience. Call the Ear, Nose, and Throat Center at 888-408-6318 today to experience Resound Links. That's 888-408-6318 to schedule your appointment to learn all about Resound Links. Apple, iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch are trademarks of Apple Incorporated, registered in the U.S. and other countries. Once again, call the Ear, Nose, and Throat Center at 888-408-6318 today to experience Resound Links.
Here in Sportsman's Paradise, it's no secret. We find creative ways to cook what we catch. Come experience a taste of what the Louisiana Outdoors has to offer at the 5th Annual El Caruba Shriners Louisiana Sportsman's Taster, featuring delectable samples of Louisiana cuisine by area sportsmen, all in support of Shriners Hospitals for Children in Shreveport. Join us at the El Caruba Shrine Temple on Saturday, July 26th at 4:30 p.m. For information and tickets, call the El Caruba Shriners at 631-1595.
Conserving water is mostly a matter of using good common sense. If everyone that used the Sparta aquifer simply turned the water off while they brush their teeth, we could save 1.5 million gallons of water per day. Before brushing, wet your brush and fill a glass of water to rinse your mouth. The declining Sparta aquifer is our main water source in North Louisiana. Do your part for water conservation. Be Sparta smart. Make every drop count. This public service announcement is brought to you by this radio station, a member of the Sparta Media Network.
Is your house just not cool enough when you walk in from work? You deserve to sit in the cool and comfort of your own home after a long, hard day. Give the friendly folks at Premier a call at 222-1980.
Giving you the edge. This is America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
Concrete beach to scrape my head.
Welcome back to America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant. C.L., our question of the day has been, who embodies the leadership that Reagan had? We're looking for somebody with moral clarity, somebody who understands the difference between right and wrong, is able to articulate that. We're looking for someone with executive experience who has the ability to lead people, not from behind, which is another word for following, but leading from the front, and someone who has the ability to inspire. Who is that?
In my opinion, Stephen, it's a fellow over there in Texas, your home state. His name is Rick Perry. I didn't anticipate Governor Perry, dropping the ball because he had a touchdown. He came into the race last election cycle with a lead. He was the odds-on favorite coming into the race. And then on national television, he dropped the ball. He blamed it on medication and so forth. Okay, fine. But he's been the longest-serving public servant in Texas since Sam Houston. Texas is the most successful state in the country, United States, and he's the one who's been leading it. I think he can lead America to the same place.
There are a couple of people that have executive experience. Scott Walker, that's one. Romney has executive experience, having run a state, having run businesses.
Yeah.
There are several people that top the list of who you want. Well, Chris Christie's another one with executive experience.
Don't like him.
There's several that people say, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz. And I think some of these guys speak in very eloquent ways and get people to follow them. I don't know if they have the leadership experience. That's my question.
Right. And I think Perry, going back to Governor Perry, I think he has the leadership experience. And I'll tell you something about Governor Perry. I met him on a couple of occasions. In fact, when he put out a book, Fed Up, I met him there in Tyler and opened that rally for him. Well, folks, it's time for us to say goodbye today. And as always, we want to thank God for this privilege to be here in this great land. And we also want to thank those fine men and women in the uniform who defend our rights, Stephen, yours and mine, be behind this microphone and to speak our mind in the greatest success story the world has ever known, America. God bless and keep you. We'll talk to you Monday from Las Vegas. We'll talk to you then.
And living free. They see the damage and the pain. Shattered lives, wave rains. Still they march on down that dangerous road, fighting for us, carrying the heavy load. And I wanna thank
your station for news, weather, and stimulating talk. KEE.